Bringing hope the world over. Hope Channel.
What if we told you you could add 10 years to your life?
What if we told you you could reverse your disease? Would you believe us?
Here's a fact. 1 out of every 3 people here in this world will get cancer, and 1 out of every 4 will die from that disease.
But here's a secret. You don't have to be like them. We offer you no magical pills, no chemotherapies, no radical treatments. Just plain, simple, practical advice guaranteed to add not just years to your life, but life to your years. I'm Weanne.
And I'm Mark, and we would like to invite you once again to join us for another episode of Longevity Secrets.
You know, Mark, cancer is fast becoming one of the leading causes of death, not just in the Philippines, but worldwide. In fact, for most people, the diagnosis of cancer may seem like a death sentence. But in the midst of all this depression are stories of people who have fought against cancer and won.
Right now, we have a story here, Weanne, right? We have a story of a patient from the Need Health Ministries that went there, and she participated in the program by the name of Dr. Rio. She is a cosmetic surgeon, and after going through the lifestyle change that the program gives, she was able to reverse her disease, her cancer. And after reversing her cancer, she did not just stop there. She went out and she started sharing this she went back to her province and she started sharing this with her fellow countrymen over there at her province. And they were able to benefit from what she told them, and a lot of them were also given healing.
Well, that story sounds familiar. I have another story just like that.
Wow.
It's a story of a medical doctor also. She's a dentist.
That's amazing, Weanne.
But you know what? She did not just stop there. She started making feeding programs for the poor and all of these other activities designed to help the people around her.
But I think that's really, really nice. But I noticed one thing about our 2 stories today.
Okay, what's that, Mark?
Aside from them having cancer, both of them having cancer, they both shared what they have learned, and they started to give others the chance so that they would be able to know what really is in that program that would able to change and reverse diseases.
I think that's one of the secrets of longevity, you know.
Yes.
When you're blessed, don't be selfish. You should share your blessings to other people as well.
Yes, and when God sees that you share your blessings to other people also, He will lengthen your life.
He will give you another chance at
Yes,
life.
another chance.
So to tell us how to be just like these 2 women in the story is Dr. Blecenda Varona, nutrition and lifestyle consultant of the Need Health Ministries. Let us now give her the time.
You're right, Mark and Weanne. You know, I used to call this healing wonders of joy. You know, when you receive something, especially healing, later on you would find yourself sharing the same thing to other people. And then later on, you become blessing to other people, and healing starts to themselves. And then later on, these people started sharing, and it multiplies to multitude of people. You know what? If you experience healing and you experience the joy of it, you can't stop by sharing the good news. And the good news today is actually there is hope for cancer. You know, the best thing that we could do right now, especially to those of you who are listening out there, those of you both of you who have high risk for cancer and those of you who don't have risk, I am asking you to listen to our lecture today, because these ideas, these strategies would actually prevent you from this kind of sickness. Now, how to prevent cancer? The first thing that we should know is it is just all around. You know, cancer is so popular and it's really, you know, the rate is really increasing. The sad news is there is no scientific, you know, specific and concrete treatment for cancer. many survivors right now are becoming, experiencing healing, but they have their own, different ways of management. There's no one concrete treatment, especially in this kind of sickness. But the good news actually is lifestyle can actually give you the best solution. According to research, it's becoming so popular in 4 patients, 4 people, and the rate is becoming higher and higher. But the good news is 70 to 80% of cancers are preventable, and we can prevent this. The first step that we should remember is stop tobacco use. When we have this management, or when I say stop tobacco use, I'm not just asking and appealing to the smokers, but I'm also appealing to the people who are passive smokers. So what I mean here is if you have some relatives, maybe your husband or your children or your parents, smokers, and it's not only them that that have high risk. You too have the risk for many kinds of cancer. So we would like to help. We would like to help these people stop. So it's a good ministry when you try to help your family members, especially, and your friends to stop smoking. I'm in this kind of job for more than 25 years of my life. But what I have discovered is, it's hard really to stop this kind of addiction. But I have also discovered that the best management, especially when you want to help somebody stop cigarette smoking, is prayer. There are so many kinds of programs, so many kinds of management or smoking plans and strategies. But the best way, really, is you need to start by praying. And many people got healed when they start praying and when they start surrendering this kind of addiction to the higher power, which is really from God. Okay, so when it comes to cigarette smoking, 90% of cancers of the lung, lip, tongue, throat, esophagus, and half of all bladder cancers are really related to cigarette smoking. So once we have, stopped this bad habit, we have already packaged of protection from diseases. 1/3 of all cancers that are really related to cancer, cigarette smoking. It is also related to heart disease and stroke, and not only that, it is related to emphysema. Emphysema is irreversible, so sad to say that those people who stop cigarette smoking, they've already emphysema, and it's too late for them to stop. What we would like to happen in this program, the longevity secret, is for you to stop. No? You have to stop right now. Don't wait for any complications or deadly complications before you decide to stop. Now, so let us all join force here. I'm appealing to parents, to the educators, to the medical professions, and to the community workers, to everybody, to churches, and to those people who are listening and watching our programs. Let's join hands, especially in the promotion of, stop smoking cessation programs. Now, maybe some of you would ask, how about diet? Can diet cause cancer? Yes, the answer is definitely yes. But you know what? It's 33%. 30% of all cancers are related to diet. Maybe some of you would ask, can food cause cancer? Like the additives and preservatives and flavor enhancers and pesticides and other chemicals? Okay, some of you would say, yes, these things can actually give you or increase your risk for cancer. And many people are becoming afraid to eat this kind of food. So if we would just say yes to this, so, you can't eat all this food because many of these have that kind of items, substances. So maybe some of you would say, how about, eating only organic? Or how about eating only fresh fruits and vegetables? If you have that in your mind, maybe you would say, oh, it's really hard to follow this kind of diet. And some of you start becoming so frustrated and you start, being discouraged with this kind of lifestyle. The answer is yes. But it's not actually, it's only little percentage by 1 to 2%. So meaning, that can give you, that can increase your risk for cancer, but with little percentage, not so high. But I would rather say you continue eating the plant foods in this slide, but you have to be very wise, especially in preparation. You still continue cooking and preparing some of the vegetables, like, the vegetables that you think that they have, they have insecticides and they have pesticides, but you really need to learn the right way of, reducing all this by washing maybe or by cooking. And when you do that, you will be able to reduce all these substances that are not really, really healthy. But another thing that I can say is, if you're smart enough, you go indigenous vegetables. When I say indigenous vegetables, as much as possible, you have to eat fruits and vegetables that are locally grown in your place. So do not go imported vegetables and fruits. Because, when you choose, most of the time, these kinds of imported goods, you will be expecting that they have, good amount of preservatives and, for the shelf life, and the nutritional value is not really that good anymore because of the preservation. But when you choose the locally grown fruits and vegetables, I'm sure that, the nutritional content is really good. And not only that, obviously, if you just go, your vegetable around like the locally grown, I'm sure that they don't put preservatives on this kind of vegetables and fruits, like, the sweet potato leaves or the kangkong or malunggay or moringa oleifera, and all these vegetables are just around us and they are available and they are actually cheap. Okay, so you go and search for the recipes that will actually provide you this, that will actually give you the indigenous vegetables. We would like to venture on how we can actually, increase the number of our own recipes so that later on we can have, most of the time dishes from the garden, very close, the locally grown fruits and vegetables. Now, some of you would ask, how about really the food that can cause cancer? Sad to say that foods high in fat and low in fiber can give you this problem. So again, listen to us, listen to this program, watch us when we have shows about, fat and all this, other items. You watch our cooking show, you watch our other shows here, and you will really be surprised that foods high in fat, low in fiber can give you the risk for cancer. While foods, high in fiber and low in fat, like this one, can actually protect you from cancer. So it's so simple. Maybe some of you have already watched our episodes about heart disease and about diabetes, and it's always this. Foods high in fiber and low in fat can actually protect you from many diseases, not only cancer. So it is actually packaged. When you have this kind of preparation at home, when you serve for a sick person and you encourage actually the whole family to eat this kind of food, you're not just serving for yourself, you're serving for the whole family. And when you do that, you're also giving life and you're also giving longevity to the whole members of the family. And it's so beautiful, huh? So I'm so happy because as we have mentioned before, and in all of our programs, we keep on saying that knowledge is power. And another strategy that we could use is we really need to be knowledgeable in our cooking presentation, in our cooking preparation. And when we combine all this knowledge and all these practical applications, you will have the best culinary. And the culinary that you will be doing is a culinary that can actually be the healing measure for the rest of the family members. Okay. Now, maybe some of you would ask, why is fiber so important? And what is really fiber? Fiber is, there are two kinds, by the way, the soluble and the insoluble. When I say soluble, it is digestible, no? When I say insoluble, it is undigestible carbohydrates. Sometimes it is not digested 100%. So, I would rather advise you that when you eat food, especially plant foods, you really need to chew them, because many of them are really high in this kind of nutrients, the fiber. And today I'd like to share with you the knowledge that you really need to check the fiber content of your food by ingestion and excretion. You know, the fiber is so easy to teach, especially the insoluble fiber. Like for example, when you eat malunggay, you know, you really need to chew well your malunggay. When I say malunggay, that's, you know, horseradish leaves. And we have lots and lots of delicious recipes about malunggay. You know, but you have really to chew well your malunggay. When you chew your malunggay, as much as possible, chew it well. Because if you don't chew it well, tomorrow when you go to the bathroom, you would really be discouraged. Because it is still malunggay the next day in the bathroom, in the toilet. So you have to chew it well. So that is one sign. When you chew your corn, some of you are, you know, you're so lazy when you eat corn, you just swallow the corn. And later on, when you go to the toilet, you are so surprised to see the whole kernel corn in your stool. Do not be discouraged because you have just eaten the, undigestible carbohydrates. And that can actually give a signal that you really need to chew your food well. Okay, so when I say the food is being digested in the mouth, both mechanical and chemical, mechanical through the help of our chewing, and chemical through the help of our saliva. It has salivary amylase. So you really need to chew your food well, particularly there is advantage for carbohydrates when you do that. Okay, so when you eat your food actually goes to the esophagus, and then it goes to the stomach, and then later on it goes to the small intestine and to the large intestine. Now let's try to see our food. Okay, and when the food goes here, what I mean is the protein is being digested in your stomach, and most of your fat is being digested in your small intestine. And when everything is digested, it would go freely to your blood and it would deliver to the smallest unit of the body, which is the cell. You know, it's so amazing. Because when God created us, you know, so miraculously. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. You try to imagine the body. The body has around 75 trillion cells. Some books would say it has 60 to 100 trillion cells. Imagine that 75 trillion cells, that's really huge. And you really need to eat right so that you can feed those numbers and trillions of cells. You know, every 3 seconds, 50,000 of your cells die. And it is also replaced by another 50,000 cells. And another 50,000 died after 3 seconds and replaced again by 50,000 cells. It's happening day and night in your life. You know, God has really so good to us, because without that, all of us are really, really sick. And you know what? If you don't eat good, it's hard to recover, you know, the dying of this kind of cells. So we have to follow a healthy lifestyle so that we can achieve longevity and we can achieve healing. Now, let's try to see some strategies that we can do here. I keep on teaching my students, when you eat, you have to evaluate your food. you have to evaluate by ingestion, and later on you have to evaluate by excretion. I keep on saying that, hey, you have to be very careful on the food on your plate. You have to check if it is really good with fiber and, you know, the fat content is just right, and with loaded of fruits and vegetables and nuts and grains, so that you can actually easily get the right amount of vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals and all these protections. But the next thing to do is you have to evaluate yourself. Okay, when food gets in the system, later on say, am I strong? Am I sick? Do I have vigor? You know, do I have this energy? And that's another question to answer. The next question to answer is, you know, the excretion, it must really be evaluated every day. When food goes out in your large intestine, and it would really go out the next day, you know, as much as possible, it is nice to really evaluate the stool. The best stool actually is the stool that floats, the stool that is really huge, the stool that it is regularly, you know, you have to release it regularly. And it's nice that you need to see that your digestion is so important. You know, some of you would say that, hey, it's just okay. You know, fiber and fat, they're okay. I don't bother about them. It's so important really to check the stool and to check the fiber and to check the fat, because fiber and fat actually can influence cancer. How? Okay? If you eat a high-fat diet, obviously that fat can, you know, your body will produce more bile acids. And when this bile acids reaches your large intestine and you are constipated and it will stay there for a long time, you know what happens? It irritates the lining of your intestine. And later on, it can create problems, especially if you don't have fiber. Now, what is the role of fiber? The role of fiber actually is, it has the ability to absorb water, and if it has the ability to absorb water, it will initiate contraction, and then it will actually, you know, you'll feel that it will really go out, and you have really to release it. So that's the role. So we need really to give a high fiber diet, but you have to remember that you need good amount of water in between meals so that you can actually help the fiber in cleansing that colon. So it's so important. Many people, you know, I have many patients and participants that are really, really constipated. And many of them are really constipated because of the diet and the lifestyle. They don't drink water, they don't eat fiber, and later on, they are really high risk when it comes to colonic cancer. Now, so here is the bile, and we don't want this bile to irritate the lining of the colon so that, you know, we can give extra protection to the colon. And fiber is the answer when it comes to real protection. We don't want hard stool. We don't want all these problems. And we want really to see that the stool would really go out, no? All waste in the body. Okay, all waste in the body should be expelled within 18 to 24 hours. So we really need to follow this. You really need to check this. Okay, so fiber is so important in this prevention, not only prevention of colonic problems, colonic cancer, and many kinds of cancer. All waste should be expelled within 24 to 36 hours. Okay, so we need to shorten dilute the concentration of the stool. Another thing that we should remember is you need to limit your fat intake. Avoid too much fried foods, avoid high-fat diets and all the dressing and all kinds of oils, including the vegetable oils in cooking, including all this, you know, high-fat foods, and you can easily get this from animal products. You could easily get this from the skin and from the internal organs of animals, and especially if you will be choosing fish, you could easily get this from the, you know, from the stomach, from the belly of the fish and the head. And stop using all this. There's an idea here. for you to easily remember as much as possible, do not eat food with mother and with face. So it's so easy, huh? So as much as possible, you have to rely on plant food so that you will be able to gather all protection. So high-fat diet had been associated with the increased risk of cancer. And we really need to rely, when it comes to fat, we really need to rely on plant foods. Go back to your seeds and go back to your, your plant sources. And they are not just, they don't just have fat, but they have good amount of protection and actually give you extra nutrients. Meat is not so good, especially red meat had been associated with the risk of cancer risk. Unfortunately, fast foods right now are really, increasing in numbers, and many people are becoming high risk because of their choice going to this kind of, food sources. Is it race or culture? The answer is no. It is really the diet, because those people who are living in different areas with a high fiber diet and a low fat diet, obviously they have lower risk for cancer. So again, my friends, you really need to follow a very healthy lifestyle, including, as much as possible, avoid alcohol drinking, because this can actually hurt us. So with the vegetables and fruits, remove your alcohol, and that can give you good protection. And maybe some of you would say, what is now the best advice for the prevention of cancer? The best actually is you have to follow the simple strategies of healthy living, and when you have that, you will be able to prevent this kind of, frightening disease. When you keep on thinking on the strategy for longevity, you're also doing the same strategy and the same protection when it comes, specifically, when it comes to cancer. So, my friends, come join us here, following healthy lifestyle. When you do that, you're both experiencing prevention, and at the same time, you will later on harvest longevity.
Thank you, Dr. Blessy, for being here with us again and for being such a great lecturer.
Yes, we have realized that the cancer may seem like such a scary disease.
Yes.
As long as you have the right knowledge and the right practices, you can defeat it.
Yes, that's really true, Weanne. Truly, knowledge is power. Without power, we won't be able to make the right choices to get rid of the worst disease of all, which is ignorance.
But always remember, Mark, that knowledge is not enough. We must remember to apply the secrets of proper nutrition, regular exercise, adequate intake of water, sunlight, temperance, fresh air, rest, and a sincere trust in God in our everyday lives. But don't just stop there.
Let us share these secrets with the people around us so that we would be a blessing not only to ourselves, but also to the people that we come in contact with. I am Mark.
And I am Weanne, inviting you to join us on the next episode of
Longevity Secrets.
Bringing hope the world over. Hope Channel.